Hey guys, so today I am going to be doing a video all about AP classes and how to pass the AP exams at the end of the year and how I got a 5 on one of my AP tests this year. So if you want to hear the tips I'm going to share and just my advice on taking AP classes and passing them, then keep on watching. So I've actually taken a total of 8 AP classes, so I've definitely been around the block in the AP world. So I feel like I know what I'm talking about a little bit, and I did pass all of those tests. So this video, just a little disclaimer, I am not trying to say I know how to just ace the AP test and just get straight flying perfect A's in all the AP classes and stuff. I literally don't think that of myself at all. I'm just trying to share my tips and my tricks and how I literally coped with the stress of AP classes, because I know all too well that it literally can suck your soul out of your body and just throw it into the wind. So I'm just trying to share this video because I want you guys to hear my advice on how I coped with it, like I said. And yeah, so I don't think I'm a genius, and I don't think I got the highest scores in the world, and I don't think I'm the smartest person in the world, and I don't think that I'm some unique person or anything like that. I am just simply sharing what I know and what I did to pass my AP tests. So for those of you who don't know what AP classes are, they're college level classes. AP stands for Advanced Placement. So they are really intense, hard classes, and at the end of the year you have an exam, and it's called the AP exam. Mind blown, right? And it doesn't actually affect your grade in the class. It doesn't change your grade from an A to a B or a B to an A. It doesn't have any effect actually on your class grade unless your teacher makes it have an effect, which if they do, I'm so sorry. But yeah, so you take it at the end of the year and you usually get your scores in July of that summer. So it's not like you get your scores back instantly or anything. And then they have a scale of 1 to 5. So 5 is the highest you can get, 1 is the lowest you can get, and a 3 is considered satisfactory, passing, whatever. So that being said, I'm gonna tell you guys every AP class I took and my score in that, and then I'm gonna go into my tips and everything. I'm telling you guys what I got and which classes I took just because I'm nosy like that, and if I'm gonna be taking advice from somebody or trying to relate to somebody, I like to know all the details. So I'm just gonna go ahead and share because I don't mind. Okay, so in 2016, which was my freshman year, I'm a senior now in high school, I took United States Government and Politics, and I got a 3. And then in 2017, which was my sophomore year of high school, I took World History and I got a 3, and I took English Language and Composition. I got a 4 on that one. And then 2018, which was my junior year, which is the most recent year, I took 5 this year. So just I know. So I took English Literature and Composition, and I got a 4 on that one. And then I took Macroeconomics, and I got a 4 on that one. And I took Microeconomics, which I got a 3 on. I got a 3 on that. No, I got a 3. I don't know how I passed. I can't even, whatever. And then Psychology, I got a 5 on. And then I also took Statistics, which I got a 3 on. Those are the classes and the exams I took. Okay, so now that you guys know all the details about my AP exams and classes, I'm gonna get into the tips. So I have 6 little, not so much tips, but just advice, just things I want to tell you about being an AP student in AP classes. So my first tip / whatever you want to call it is the teacher doesn't matter. You matter. And I know that's what, but just hear me out. So when I say the teacher doesn't matter, I obviously don't mean the teacher actually doesn't matter. Teachers can literally make or break subjects, especially in AP classes. Let me tell you something. My psychology teacher was phenomenal, literally so amazing, and that's the class I got a 5 in. But I also want to major in psychology. It's my passion in life, so that's kind of something to do with it. But he was so amazing. He taught how he wanted to teach. He didn't teach to the Common Core standards, and I'm not going to get into Common Core on this video. I'm just saying that he taught in a way that made everyone in our class so interested, and it made AP so much easier. And so you'll have teachers like that with AP classes, and then you'll also have teachers I had a teacher who was literally terrible. It was a disaster. She did not do anything for us. It was a mess. It was horrible, horrible, horrible. And it's one of those things where if you want to pass an AP class, if you want to pass an AP test, you have to realize that no matter how good your teacher is or how bad your teacher is, they will not be taking the test for you. So in some ways that can comfort you, because if your teacher doesn't know what the heck is going on, then you're like, okay, great, like, thank goodness he or she is not taking my test. But obviously if it's a good teacher, you can't just rely on the teacher being good as your way of passing the exam. So you really have to take that initiative and you have to put in those hours. Even though I really resented doing this, I would go to class, you know, all day, go to school all day, and then I would come home sometimes and I feel like I would just actually teach myself. So sometimes I felt like when I was in an AP class where a teacher really wasn't working well with me, I was just wasting my time. I wanted to pass and get that score so bad that I would go home and like teach myself again, if you know what I mean. So it's not for the faint of heart. You have to like basically know that there's a good chance you will end up teaching yourself more than your teacher will, or you will have to supplement a lot of your own education when taking an AP class and especially trying to get a 5. You're definitely gonna have to work just as much in school as out of school. Okay, so my second little tip / advice is quality versus quantity. So like I mentioned, I've taken 8 AP classes overall. My freshman year I took 1, then I took 2, and then I decided to take 5. Don't recommend, not even a little, like not even, do not take 5 AP classes in a year. I don't care, I don't want to hear it. Do as I tell you, don't do as I do, because let me tell you something, I was a nervous wreck, honey. I was a literal mess, okay? I was just a hot mess, and I don't even know how I managed to like put on my shoes and get to the school every day, because I was so stressed, so overwhelmed, and even though I did pass those tests, I feel like I could have gotten a better score on basically all of them. Most people do 4 years of high school. If your goal is to do 8 AP classes, let's say, or 10 AP classes by the time you graduate, space that out. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have like a number of AP classes I wanted to do. I'm a senior now and I'm not taking AP classes. I'm actually like dual enrolled in my college, so that's another story. But you have 4 years, use them. Don't take one class, and then your senior year be like, oh crap, I wanted to have, you know, this many AP classes, so let me take 7. Don't do it, because you're not going to get as good of a score or pass all of them just because you physically, like as a human, you don't have enough time to do all that work. If you really want a high score, it's so much better to do 2 a year than trying to be like lazy 5 a year. You know what I mean? Like it's so much better to really take your time and be able to devote yourself to that certain AP class so that you can get the score and the grade you want. Okay, so number 3 is use outside resources. So this ties in obviously to the first one about like studying on your own and everything. You definitely have so many resources that are free. There's obviously some you can buy, but there are tons and tons of resources for free that you can use. So one of my favorite study tools, and actually not even study, just like to teach myself kind of and practice tools, was going online to College Board's website. I'm pretty sure every class they have the previous year's exams there, and you can like do it so you can take them as practice tests, and then you can check yourself with the answers. It's an actual College Board test, and they're as recent as like the year before sometimes. So it's such a great study tool. You'll know exactly what you're having to learn, and you'll be able to like practice and stuff with those, and those are completely free. Also, there are like books, like those terrible, ugly, thick like books. This previous year my AP Stats teacher let us use the AP Stats Barron's like 9th edition workbook type thing, and it actually was so helpful. It breaks the whole class down by chapters, and you like read these notes on it, and then there's like practice, and then there's like a few practice tests at the end. That's super helpful. Obviously you have to buy that, but there are tons of resources other than yourself, your teacher, your friends that are available to you. You just have to be able to find them. My 5th tip is find your own way of study. So like I mentioned, there's all these different resources you can use to study, but a lot of times teachers will say, okay, like make flashcards, or, you know, take notes from the textbook. Not all of us learn that way. Not all of us can study that way. I found that I do so much better with making myself a personal study guide. And what I mean by that is I would go through the chapters and just pick out little details and make like a cute little study guide that was on one sheet of paper. I found that so much better and much more beneficial for myself than flashcards or like Quizlets. Even though I still use those tools all the time, you should experiment and try out different methods of studying, because that will really help you. Because sometimes it's not that you're dumb, it's not that you're not getting the material, it's just the way the material is being like presented to you, like looking at it in a different way, learning it in a different way, like through videos, or like I said, the practice tests. If you don't even want to make study guides, or if you want to do vocab, there's so many different ways to study. So personalize it for yourself and try out different methods and see what works for you, because that will make a world of difference. Okay, number 5 is try to relax on your test day. And I know, listen y'all, I have terrible anxiety, so someone telling me to relax is like telling a dog not to bark, you know what I mean? Like, I physically cannot relax. So I know this is like gonna sound stupid, but literally on test day, even though I was like nervous, I had anxiety, obviously, because I cared. It's not a bad thing to be nervous. I tried to realize, like, okay, I've done what I can do. I've studied, I've worked hard, I've connected with my teacher, I've talked to my friends. I've done what I can do. So at this point, I'm not gonna learn any more than I already have. So I just need to chill, because that's the best thing I can do for myself. Because the truth of the matter is obviously you can do like refreshers the day of your test, but you're not going to learn the whole course the night before your test. You're just not going to. I'm sorry to break it to you. I've tried it, but you're just not. So you just need to realize that if you've done what you're supposed to do and you've put in the time and effort before the test, then the best thing you can do for yourself, literally the best thing in the whole world, is just to be like, you know what? I've done my best, and whatever happens from here, it happens, and I'm gonna be fine either way. And I know it's frustrating sometimes, and it's really hard to try and calm down and just like, but definitely like realize that you've done what you can do on the test day, and that literally the best thing ever is just to let it go and just try to remain calm and focus on your test. My last little tip, which is kind of contradictory to this whole video, but I hope you understand what I'm saying, is realize that sometimes it's out of your hands. So this is more for what I would say like after you've taken the test, because there would be times I would think like after the test I'd be like, oh man, if I would have just studied this, or if I would have just studied that. This is a little bit of a criticism for AP exams, but I personally feel like sometimes the tests, not all of the time, but sometimes the tests focus on like 2 chapters out of the whole year, and it's like supposed to be like equally distributed, or like 30% this, 20% that, 10% this, but sometimes it's just not that way. So if you have been studying, you know, what you thought would be the most on there, what you thought would be like the biggest portion of the test, and it turns out it's not, you can't like beat yourself up about that. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes there are people that can be in the same class, can be at the same academic level, and take the same AP test on the same day, had the same teacher and all that stuff, but one of them will do better than the other just because the material that was on the actual AP test was better suited for one over the other. And I know that is discouraging, and it shouldn't make that big of a difference. That's why I encourage you to like actually learn the whole subject. That way, if it is like more focused on one area over the other, you know it and it's not a big deal. But sometimes things happen. Like, let me tell you something. Honestly, this past year in AP Literature, I was doing practice tests, and I was like projected to get a 5, and several of my other friends were projected to get 5s from just like practice exams and and we didn't. Some of us didn't pass, some of us got 3s, I got a 4, and even though it feels a little bit disheartening when you've been doing what you consider to be a 5 level all year and then it's not, or a 4 level and it's not, sometimes the test is just harder than you thought, or sometimes the test just isn't what will suit you best for that subject, if I make sense. So after you take the test, don't sit there and just beat yourself up and be like, I'm never taking an AP class again. Or once you see your score, be like, what the heck is wrong with me? Like, sometimes the passing rate is different. Like, it is not fair. And it's like you almost wish that every kid could have like their best version of the AP test for each subject, if that makes sense. Obviously that's not gonna happen. Your worth is not in those AP exam scores. I know I just made a whole video talking about how to get good scores and pass and da 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 da, but the truth is sometimes you can do your absolute best and you just don't pass, or you just don't get a 5. And the truth is that not all tests are created equally. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, College Board. Please don't sue me. I'm just saying, you know, like, don't beat yourself up over it, because AP classes and exams are hard. They're hard. So yeah, guys, that is all I have to say about AP classes for this video, at least. So please don't forget to like and comment and subscribe and follow me on all my social media. Let me know what you think of this video down below, and if you have any AP exam tips or questions or whatever, leave them down below. I'd love to talk to you about it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye!